Canadians must be assured that their government will take all necessary actions to protect them.
The federal government steps in to get Canada Post employees back to work.
Tonight, new developments in the labor dispute, the effort to force an end to the strike. Good evening. The country's labor minister says Canadians are fed up with the postal strike.
Today, taking action to end it, hoping to get mail moving again as early as next week. CTV's Mike Walker is gathering reaction from the picket line and joins us from a mail processing plant on Eastern Avenue. Mike.
Well, Nathan, Michelle, with negotiations at an impasse, the Labour Minister is asking the Industrial Relations Board to step in, which could result in a back-to-work order. It's a move being condemned by the union. Striking Canada Post workers could be off the picket lines and delivering mail again as early as next week, with the federal government now intervening in the labor dispute.
We want to give collective bargaining an opportunity to succeed, but it is clear to me that some more independent thought and examination is required.
The Labour Minister requesting the Industrial Relations Board to review the state of negotiations, which could lead to a back-to-work order, plus a review of why talks fell apart.
The review could provide the basis of a path forward on how to amend the collective agreements.
As part of the process, terms of the existing agreements would be extended to May 22nd of next year. The union denouncing the move, calling it an assault on workers' rights.
The union is disappointed that, again, workers' rights have been taken away from us, and that, Canada Post is going to be able to achieve what they could not achieve through collective bargaining.
On the picket line, frustration and concern over the ability to reach a fair deal.
This is not good for worker. There has to be negotiation with union and the management.
Wages, job security, and expansion to weekend delivery among the key issues. Canada Post says it's prepared to fully participate in the process. A statement reads in part, "Our commitment has always been to reach negotiated agreements with the Canadian Union of Postal Workers that would help us better serve the changing needs of Canadians and provide good jobs to those who provide the service." The Crown Corporation estimates 1 million packages are going undelivered each day. Welcome news for those who have relied on the service.
Because it's causing too much disruption for a lot of people.
I think that negotiations happen better when the two sides can reach an agreement themselves as opposed to being government ordered back.
But they say the intervention is too late with the holidays just over a week away.
There's a lot of stuff people are trying to send to friends and family, and now they're kind of going, I can't get it there because UPS has said no. FedEx is busy.
Frustration echoed by the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses. It estimates small businesses have collectively lost $100 million each day since the strike began. Now, part of the government's plan includes a commission reporting back with recommendations on how a new agreement can be reached by May 15th. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Also tonight, defending the soaring cost of flying. Airline CEOs testified before a House committee amid calls to get rid of new carry-on luggage fees. But first, we turn to the emergency situation at a West End hospital.
St. Joseph's Healthcare has been without heat and hot water all day due to a boiler system failure, and on a particularly frigid Toronto day. Our Sean Leathong joins us live with an update, and Sean, it is a good one.
It's a great one, Michelle. The boiler issue has been fixed, and they expect to be up and running in full capacity by the end of the weekend after what was a pretty scary day. On what was one of the coldest days this season, St. Joseph's Hospital had no heat or hot water, the result of a boiler outage.
When you first walk in, there's a wall, and in that area it's a little chilly.
In a statement, Unity Health called the outage an emergency situation, asking patients to avoid coming to the emergency room unless it was life-threatening. Also, all non-essential activities were canceled across the ambulatory, procedural, and surgical areas. All patients were to be contacted, but chemotherapy and dialysis went ahead as scheduled. And after a day-long outage, the hospital announcing that the boiler had been fixed just before 5 p.m.
It's not bad, actually. It's not bad. They have heaters and all that.
Anywhere near a door or a window, it's cold.
This man was visiting his wife on the 6th floor, and he says the hospital seems to be running as usual.
No mention of it, so as I say, you really don't feel any effect up there.
Throughout the day, patients were coming and going, but as the day wore on and with temperatures sitting below freezing, some say it became colder inside.
It's not bad. It's cool, but it's not cold.
It's cold. It's definitely cold. They were setting up heaters and at several places inside of the emergency.
Visitors were still welcome, but Unity Health asked that family not bring space heaters to their loved ones in hospital, instead choosing blankets and warm clothes. So I mentioned in the story that it would take some time to be up by the end of the weekend. That's because the water is coming back on in stages. Unity Health is also asking anybody who would be considering going to the emergency room to only come in the case of life or death. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Michelle, send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. And the weather certainly aggravating their problem at the hospital. It's been below the freezing mark all day, and it's going to get even colder. Tonight, the wind chill is particularly painful. You got to be moving around when you're in this cold. Jessica Smith is here. Unfortunately, she's nice and warm inside Eaton Center tonight. Jess.
I'm very glad that I'm inside. We're inside for a really special reason. We're celebrating Toy Mountain and the continuous giving that this community does. But, Michelle, you know I have to do my job first. I got to talk about the cold weather. You know what? It's so cold. You should just come down to the Eaton Center, donate a toy, come hang out, get your holiday shopping finished if you haven't started already. We're still seeing a few light flurries off those eastern shorelines of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay, but high pressure has moved in. That doesn't mean it's warmer, but at least we're not dealing with all that snow that we saw towards Lake Huron and Georgian Bay. It is a little chilly out there as we head through the rest of our evening. Right now through the islands about -5, Pearson -7, but those wind chills are wicked. And tonight we drop down to -8, feeling like -13. So you're going to need all those comfortable layers. But obviously we're down here for more than just the weather. It is Toy Mountain. We're celebrating, and I'm here with a very special guest, Mayor Olivia Chow. Now you've got one of the Squishmallows. Those are really popular toys. We know how important it is this time of year to give back to your community, and Toronto does that better than almost anybody. What do you think that says about this people of this city?
It's cold out there, but it's really warm inside because of all the love and sharing that I'm feeling. This is 29 years of the Toy Mountain toy drive, and it is a season for sharing. That's why I'm feeling very warm. And you know, 1 out of 10 Torontonians need the food bank, and 1/3 of them are kids, and they may not get a toy. So the goal is to get 70,000 toys for every 70,000 kids. Think of the happiness, the joy, and the smile they're going to have, right? So let's build this Toy Mountain together. And by the way, thank you for CTV for doing all the teamwork. No, seriously. Yes. It's very important.
Thank you so much, Mayor Chow. We are building a Toy Mountain! We practiced that beforehand. I'm just kidding. We'll send it back inside for now. We have more on Toy Mountain. Mayor Chow, thank you so much. And let's continue helping our city. We'll send things back inside.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate you stopping by. Thanks, Jess. Still ahead, he excels at Excel. The winner of the Microsoft Excel World Championships lives right here in the GTA. We catch up with the new Sultan of the Spreadsheet, who just unseated the reigning champ in Las Vegas.
But first, Doug Ford is doubling down on a threat to stop providing electricity to the United States.
The war of words sparked by a promise from Donald Trump to impose tariffs on Canada. As CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris reports, the Ontario Premier is looking at even more ways to push back.
A brewing battle with the U.S. over the border and tariffs could mean some empty spots on LCBO shelves. The Premier confirming he'd consider pausing purchasing U.S.-made booze.
We'll use every tool in our toolbox as we put a tariff on bourbon last time. LCBO is one of the largest purchasers of alcohol in the entire world. But I'd prefer not to do any of this.
This comes after a threat to cut off the sale of power to U.S. states if President-elect Donald Trump hits Canadian goods with a 25% tariff, a threat Trump shrugged off.
Well, that's okay if he does that. That's fine.
Doug Ford, undeterred.
Well, what you didn't hear on the tapes after, he says, I really want to make a deal with Canada. That's the first time he's ever said that.
Manitoba's premier is also looking at the possibility of retaliatory tariffs.
We're making a list. We're checking it twice. We'll be ready for January 20th.
But there's no consensus from coast to coast. In Alberta, tariffs have been rejected outright.
All it does is make life more expensive. So instead, we're taking a diplomatic approach.
Ford stresses he's only speaking for Ontario's interests.
If it comes to Alberta or Quebec, that's their choice. they believe in diplomacy. Good luck.
The federal government brushing off suggestions there are cracks in the Team Canada approach.
We're not going to comment on all the different options that provincial governments might suggest. Any responsible national government would obviously be preparing
for potential measures to respond to what may come from their American counterparts.
We need to have good ongoing conversations with the premiers of provinces and territories. The ultimate response we come up with needs to be one that all of our country stands behind.
Canada-U.S. relations are going to be a major focus of a meeting of Canada's premiers in Mississauga starting Sunday. Another chance to get on the same page face-to-face. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Firefighters tackled a two-alarm blaze in Scarborough today. Crews were called to a home on Kingston Road, just east of Morningside, shortly before noon. Paramedics say they assessed one person at the scene. There's no word yet on the cause of the fire.
3 years after the brutal murder of 36-year-old Nabila Aminzada in a Scarborough home, her boyfriend was sentenced to life in prison today, an end to a long and painful chapter in the lives of a grieving family. Nabila Aminzada was killed in November of 2021, confined and assaulted in this Scarborough home by her boyfriend, Carlin Walker, who was arrested at the scene. Today, he was handed a mandatory life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years after a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder in October. When handing down the sentence, Justice Michael Brown said the offense of first-degree murder in this case involved shocking violence by Mr. Walker towards Miss Aminzada. The violence to Miss Aminzada was significantly aggravated because it was perpetrated by Mr. Walker in the context of an intimate partner relationship. Justice Brown noting Aminzada and Walker started dating in 2019, 3 months after meeting, and Walker repeatedly assaulted her throughout their relationship. Speaking on intimate partner violence, Justice Brown said everyone is entitled to live their lives free of fear and violence. Certainly, Nabila Aminzada was entitled to that. Tragically, she experienced both at the hands of Mr. Walker. Some of Aminzada's family members were in the courtroom and hugged each other after the sentence was handed down. They declined to comment on the case. The judge said they didn't want to provide victim impact statements because they didn't want to share their pain publicly. Walker has been in custody since his arrest. He will be eligible for parole in November of the year 2046.
A brief court hearing was held today, setting the stage for criminal proceedings against billionaire businessman Frank Stronach. Police in Peel Region charged Stronach with 18 counts this year, including sexual assault and indecent assault, related to 13 complainants. The case was split into two proceedings, one in Toronto, the other in York Region. For the Toronto trial, Stronach's lawyer indicated the 92-year-old will proceed with a preliminary inquiry on some counts and a jury trial in Superior Court for the others. Stronach has denied all allegations against him.
Airline CEOs were in the hot seat today on Parliament Hill, facing questions about increased fees on lower fare tickets.
CTV's Judy Trin has the details on what executives had to say on the rising costs to fly.
The airline CEOs made two major arguments. One, they need to do this to compete. And secondly, if the government is truly concerned about rising fees, they should go after third parties, not them. Air Canada was the last airline that gave passengers a free carry-on when they booked basic tickets. That changes beginning in January. Its CEO says it needed to do this to compete with WestJet, Porter and Flair that are charging for carry-ons and advertising lower prices.
Similar fare structures at other carriers have not raised concerns from Parliament. Travelers tend to prioritize the lowest advertised price, even if additional fees make the final cost higher. And small differences in pricing can determine whether we are considered at all.
The charge for a carry-on on basic fares is about $30 across the board. Porter Airlines says only 8% of economy customers upgrade. Meanwhile, WestJet's CEO says if parliamentarians really wanted to protect consumers, they should pressure third parties to lower their fees.
Before Canadians even buy their tickets, government and third-party taxes, fees and charges can add up as much as $99 to a ticket price. This is more than 3 times of that it is in the United States, where similar charges are around $28.
The airlines say that by charging carry-on fees, they are making the boarding process more efficient and avoiding delays because people are carrying less on board. But we should also point out that all the airlines now charge for changing seats if you want to do that at the point of check-in. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
And tomorrow marks the start of the 2-month GST holiday implemented by Ottawa as an affordability measure. Federal tax will be removed from a range of goods, including prepared foods and restaurant meals, as well as many alcoholic beverages. Also included will be products like children's clothing and toys, video game consoles, books, and Christmas trees. Ontario will temporarily drop its portion of the harmonized sales tax on those goods as well.
Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland offered a preview of her fall economic statement, highlighting new measures aimed at strengthening the flow of capital. They include removing restrictions on investment by Canadian pension funds in Canadian companies and funds for venture capital initiatives. Freeland will table her economic update on Monday.
Rallies were held in the Syrian capital today, celebrating the sudden fall of the Bashar al-Assad regime.
But as CTV's Adrian Gobriel reports, Ottawa is facing ongoing questions over a number of Canadians still detained in the country.
Fireworks light the night sky over Damascus, putting an exclamation point on a joyous day across central and southern Syria. Thousands chanted, "Syria is free," as they celebrated the first Friday prayers since the fall of dictator Bashar al-Assad. It's a starkly different story in northeastern Syria, where there are still clashes between rival militias.
The situation has, in many respects, now become a potential tinderbox. We just don't know at what point the situation in northeast Syria could explode.
It's in this part of the country where 16 Canadians are believed to be currently detained. 9 of them adult males, 7 are children, along with 3 of their mothers who aren't Canadian. CTV's W5 traveled to northeastern Syria, where they were able to locate British Canadian Jack Letts, who's been held in custody for 7.5 years without ever being charged of a crime. Accused of joining ISIS, Letts now says that isn't true. He's pleading to be brought home.
I have no problem to go back to Canada now, and they put me in prison for 100 years and I die in prison, no problem.
Human rights lawyer Alex Neve traveled to Syria in 2023 with a delegation. He toured the prisons holding Canadians captive. This week he wrote a letter to the Canadian government demanding their repatriation.
The international rules-based order is all about human rights obligations, and it is stunning, and I think for all of us as Canadians, disgraceful. That in this particular situation, because of political considerations, because it's uncomfortable, because it's inconvenient, we have decided to disregard the international rules-based order.
Previously, the Canadian government has cited security concerns for not repatriating Canadians who are currently in Syria. Human rights activists say if they're guilty, bring them home and put them on trial. Our questions to Global Affairs Canada have so far gone unanswered today. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Also today, Palestinian authorities say 37 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a building in central Gaza. Footage from the scene shows a collapsed building with people searching among the overwhelming rubble for victims who might still be trapped. Israel says it was targeting a senior member of the Islamic Jihad and again accused the terror group of using the civilian population as a human shield.
Russia launched another massive aerial attack against Ukraine today. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia fired more than 90 cruise and ballistic missiles and nearly 200 drones. They targeted energy facilities. In the capital, residents had to take shelter underground in subway stations. Russia said it sees Ukraine's power system as a military target and said it was responding to Ukrainian strikes on a military airfield this week. Ukraine's president said Russia was terrorizing millions of people and urged international solidarity against Moscow.
France has a new prime minister who says he's aware of the difficult work that awaits him amid divisions in the country. French President Emmanuel Macron named François Bayrou as his 4th prime minister today. The veteran centrist politician is taking control without a majority in the legislature, a political reality that toppled his predecessor. Last week, the former prime minister Michel Barnier resigned following a non-confidence vote triggered by budget disputes.
And in South Korea, demonstrations continue ahead of another key vote that could see President Yoon Suk-yeol removed from office. The country's leader faces a second impeachment vote in the aftermath of his short-lived decision to impose martial law. A previous attempt by the opposition to impeach Yoon failed as his party's members refused to take part in the vote.
Closer to home, who knew spreadsheets could be so exhilarating?
A Toronto man can now call himself a world champion in Microsoft Excel, taking the title during a thrilling live event in Las Vegas. CTV's Beth McDonnell has the story.
In the moment of victory, Michael Jarman leaps from his chair.
Michael Jarman!
Look at that!
Takes the win!
Unseating the previous three-time winner, he takes the top prize at the Microsoft Excel World Championship in Las Vegas. That's right, World Champion of Excel, the spreadsheet program which organizes and calculates data.
Starting to look like is anyone going to ever beat him? So, yeah, it's nice to sort of finally dethrone him. And, I very much have wanted to win this for a while, so it feels great.
Jarman is British and moved to Toronto in 2017 with his company doing financial modeling for infrastructure projects, then met his fiancée. The competition is a set of unique problem-solving tasks in Excel, which ramp up in complexity and involves getting the answer as quickly as possible.
You might have to model a card game like poker or euchre or baccarat. You might have to model a dice game like Yahtzee. You might have to sort of do like Monopoly or traverse a map. The final round this year was World of Warcraft.
Jarman says the number of people watching the Excel World Championship is growing, and more people love puzzles than you might think. He points to all those who love a daily Sudoku or Wordle.
Microsoft reckon 1 billion people now use Excel. And I think, when people sort of go to watch sports, there's very few sports that 1 billion people actively play, right? So I think there is something that a lot of people can get from it.
Now it's just a matter of deciding what to do with his winnings, a $5,000 US check and this large belt.
So I've honestly had more plans for the belt, which I think we're mounting on the wall somewhere. We're trying to figure out how to do that. Honestly, I've had more thought what to do with that because it's like I don't have a belt before.
Jarman says he's always had a knack for problem solving, and this win, all the congratulations and media interviews, has been a whirlwind. Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
Coming up, new hope for kids living with the most common form of childhood cancer, the tot-friendly treatment that fits inside a backpack.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up, it's Feedback Friday. We had a lot of reaction to our story on porch pirates and package theft. Fake taxis using generic signs to pull off debit card scams, and financial documents that banks say are so old they're worthless. Feedback Friday is just ahead.
We're down here at the Eaton Center for a very special reason. It is Toy Mountain, and I'm really glad that we're inside because it has been the opposite of warm throughout the entire day today. But it is December after all, but it has been below seasonal, and we're looking at some really cool weather continuing, but there is a slow but steady climb in towards the week ahead, and we will get back to seasonal and then above as we head in towards the middle of the month. But I know I'm here to do my job and talk about the weather, but we're also here to talk about Toy Mountain, and I'm here with Miss Sheila. Now, you are the person in charge here, Miss Sheila, and I want to say the reception here has been so lovely. What does it mean to you to see all these people coming down to the Eaton Center, not only to get their holiday shop on, but to give back to their community?
Jess, thank you so much. We are so thrilled at Cadillac Fairview. Giving back is truly core to our values, and we believe that coming together as a community, we can create some special times for many families. We are very proud to be supporters of the CTV Toy Mountain campaign and would encourage everyone. I think it's key to remember that, you know what, if we come together as a community, we can give back in small ways or in big ways and truly create some magical moments for those folks that might be facing challenges this holiday season.
Absolutely, and we have a large donation. We have, drum roll please, a $10,000 donation. Ms. Sheila, thank you so much. And we have a very special message from the one and only Shannon Burns.
You can donate new and unwrapped toys to families in need. It's in support of the Salvation Army to ensure that no child goes without a gift this holiday season. And I know times are tough, so you can go to toymountain.ca to get all the information on the campaign.
We had a lot of reaction to our recent stories on taxi scams, banks refusing old checks, and the GST tax break, which begins tomorrow.
Many viewers are also getting frustrated with package theft and believe courier companies should be doing more to stop it. Here's Pat Foran with Feedback Friday. Pat.
Thanks, Michelle and Nathan. A recent survey found 1 out of 10 Canadians have had a package stolen in the past year, and many people are worried their deliveries could be a target for thieves. Viewers tell us they would like to see courier companies do more to prevent package theft. A FedEx survey found 2/3 of online shoppers are worried a package delivered to their home could be stolen by thieves. Adam Ryder recently had packages taken from his doorstep, but he's one of the few people to get them back.
We found the people, we've arrested them, and we have your stuff. And I was like, what?
Amazon now has a service which allows drivers to put packages inside your garage, and more people are installing delivery lock boxes to prevent theft. But Richard wrote, the problem is most delivery services will not ring the doorbell. If they would, many packages could be collected before porch pirates steal them. 2 people told us they found an uncashed check and an unclaimed GIC. In both cases, each document was older than 20 years. Both banks refused to honor them, saying too much time had passed.
I have no intentions of leaving it to the bank.
Mary told us, I have a GIC from 1993 issued at $26,000. The bank says it's too old to honor it. That is so unfair. Maria Padagdag got caught in a taxi scam and had her bank account drained of $14,000. With CTV's help, she got her money back, but police say be on the lookout for anyone using generic taxi signs.
That I can guarantee you 100% of the time will be a fake taxi.
A viewer sent us this photo of a taxi he spotted near his home. John wrote, this so-called taxi was in my neighborhood. Some may be charging passengers cash for rides, but they could be scamming them as well. The GST-HST tax holiday begins tomorrow, making some items tax-free for the next 2 months, including restaurant meals. That's causing concerns for some. A waiter wrote us saying, for restaurant workers, the tip is also calculated on the tax. Reducing the bill by 13% means staff will also get less when they need it most. Restaurants Canada called it a major victory to be included in the tax holiday. The group says many restaurants have been struggling, and they're hoping the tax break will cause more people to dine out over the next 2 months and support their industry. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Well, be aware, it is another chilly night in Toronto.
But they're feeling the warmth of the season at the Eaton Centre tonight. And that's where CTV Jessica Smith is continuing to build our toy mountain. Jess.
Listen, they're putting us to work here, Mr. Nathan, because it is busy, but in the best way possible. I have to get to your forecast first because we know we got to do that business, and then we'll get to the fun stuff. But really, it is December, and it's actually kind of feeling like December. It has been such a warm start to the winter season, and that's not changing anytime soon. Right now, -7 here in the city. It feels like -13, and it feels like every one of those -13s if you're outside. So come inside, come down to Toy Mountain and donate a toy. -8 tonight, feeling like -13, and we are in those minus double digits across southern Ontario. So we are tiptoeing into those temperatures where you really have to think about layers and then some. Into your Saturday, a little sunshine to start, some cloud cover in the afternoon, but closer to seasonal. We had all that snow yesterday, the day before. If you live along those eastern shorelines, Lake Huron and Georgian Bay, you know exactly what's up. But into your Saturday, your Sunday, we're holding on to at least a little bit warmer weather before some rain moves in. The rest of this evening, though, nice and clear out there, but cool. And as we head into Saturday, lots of sunshine. So if you like to skate, you want to spend some time outside, you're absolutely able to do that. As we head in towards Sunday, though, we watch for the showers to make their way in. So not all the snow is going to melt for our friends in Cottage Country, but a little bit of it. And for us here in the GTA and in Toronto proper, we're looking at more of a wet snow rain event. Temperature-wise, though, we are going to see a little bit of a resurgence as we head in towards the next few days. So if you like the warmer winter weather, we have that and then some. over the next 7 days. We went from being so cold to being so warm. Once again, 4 degrees on your Sunday, 5 on Monday. So for the kiddos heading off to school, it's a heads up, you're going to need your rain jackets. And then as we head in towards the end of the week, we start to return to a much more seasonal point. But we are down here for the fun stuff. Obviously, we got to do the business stuff first. The one and only Miss Kayla Gray from TSN is here. Welcome. And you have a special guest with you.
Yes.
It's a family affair when it comes to giving back this season.
It's a rare appearance for one Levi, but my son is here, and obviously we want to be coming out here for a good cause. I want him to learn. Oh my gosh, he's smiling. This is so embarrassing. He doesn't do the TV stuff, but you can tell where he gets this all from. But, you know, parents, this is just a great opportunity for you to be teaching your kids early why it is so important to give back. And especially when you think about the holidays, I always think the best gift is to give people the things that you love to do. So what do we love doing? Building Lego?
Yes.
Yes. Mommy loves building Lego a little bit more than Levi does. He's very creative, and I'm very to the instructions. So whoever gets this, we're really excited for them because we have so many memories that we can look back on when it comes to building these things together.
Listen, he's pointing at it. He's doing the whole, he's showcasing the race car.
Nothing on you, Levi.
Listen, we are ready. Thank you, Miss Kayla, so much. We appreciate everybody spending their time with us. And we also have Tally. You're here from U of T. You're here with a different club. But talk to me about why you guys wanted to give back. Because I know, obviously, everybody's thinking about the holiday season, but it's harder to think about other people when we're busy with ourselves. But why was it important for you guys to give back?
So at MEXA and P2C, we both collaborated. We had a Christmas event where we built gingerbread houses. And from that, we also wanted to raise money to buy toys for the CTV Mountain Drive and to just give back to our community.
Listen, every single toy counts, and I really do think it speaks to the volume of the character of the people in the city because there are toys for the littles, the older kids. We have the one and only Brian Armstrong from the Salvation Army. Now, obviously, this is not a new thing for you. You're a regular, you're an OG when it comes to giving back, but tell me why you continue to see people wanting to donate their time to a cause when, listen, we're all busy this time of year. Everyone's out here shopping, buying presents for themselves or other people. But why is it so important to find that time to really connect to your community?
Jessica, this is so exciting, and the giving that's coming is so helpful for us. People are having to make impossible choices this year. It's really hard for people, so the generosity is so amazing. We love the way the Ontarians are coming through and making this just a building toy mountain so that we can make sure everyone is covered with a toy this year. So.
Listen, for all these toy mountains we've been doing so far this season, it has been overwhelming when it comes to the way that the community has shown up for people. I want to give a shout out again to Kodomo, and we have Scout. I don't mean to excite you guys, but there is a real life elf standing behind me right now. So if you have any wishes, just do them through the screen because I feel like he's got that kind of power. But we are down here for Toy Mountain at the Eaton Center. Come on down, make a toy donation. Every single toy counts. I feel like Lego's going to be real popular this year. So Kayla and Levi, thank you for that because I really think people enjoy that. And I know that as we head in towards the crunch time of the holiday season, this really does make a difference. Levi, can you say Merry Christmas for me?
Merry Christmas!
As we build a toy mountain! Okay, one more time, a little louder. A toy mountain! That's what I'm talking about. You can donate online, CTV, toymountain.ca. There we go. So much more you guys can do. We're going to be here for the rest of the 7 o'clock show. We've got more exciting stuff coming up. And guys, thank you so much. I appreciate every single person coming down here and collecting these toys to help everybody out. We'll send it back into the studio.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Also tonight, the search for Drake's doppelganger, a look-alike contest on tap in Toronto this weekend, draws attention and big bucks from the man himself.
A new combination of treatments has been so effective in trials is now being used at Sick Kids Hospital for a common childhood cancer.
As CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan reports, the staff have even come up with a cool new way to administer the drug.
Receiving chemotherapy is hard for anyone, but for children with B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia, there is new hope.
We've gone from what was a universally fatal disease to one in which, in a country like Canada, 85 to 90% of children could have expected cure. And that was with a prolonged course, 2.5 to 3.5 years of traditional standard chemotherapy with all of the acute and long-term toxicities that involves.
Researchers looked at treating this most common form of childhood cancer using immunotherapy in addition to chemo.
The study was actually closed quite earlier than expected because the results were so good. So, for example, children at what we call an average risk of relapse, when they were treated with the chemotherapy alone, had a 3-year disease-free survival of 90%, whereas when they got the chemotherapy and the blinatumomab, actually that raised to 97.5%.
Blinatumomab teaches the body's own immune system to seek and destroy cancer cells, but there's a catch.
It's not an easy drug to give either. It's 2 months of a continuous infusion, so children are sort of hooked up to these little backpacks that are giving them the drug the entire time.
And so the Sick Kids team designed a more kid-friendly backpack to hold the pump and all its parts.
So it doesn't sort of identify the kid necessarily as different from all of their peers. And now we have children who go to school, who go to parks, who go to playgrounds wearing their backpacks, and the feedback's been pretty great.
Right now the backpacks are used for blinatumomab, but there are many conditions which require constant infusion of medication, and so the hope is these backpacks will be helpful in those illnesses as well. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Peel Public Health is reporting a case of measles involving someone with a recent history of international travel. Officials say this individual may have exposed other passengers on a pair of Turkish Airlines flights on December 4th. Flight 707 from Kabul to Istanbul and Flight 17 from Istanbul to Toronto. There was also the potential for the virus to spread at Pearson Airport's Terminal 1 from around 6:45 to 10:30 p.m. on that same night. Peel Public Health says anyone potentially infected should monitor for symptoms and contact a health provider if they experience any.
Fresh off her record-setting Eras World Tour, Taylor Swift paid a surprise visit to a children's hospital in Kansas City on Thursday.
When you saw her face, how did you feel? What was your reaction?
I was flabbergasted.
Stunned patients and parents snapped photos with the music superstar. She even recorded a TikTok video with at least one excited fan, as she also signed a few pieces of memorabilia. The singer turns 35 years old today.
It wouldn't be a huge surprise to see Drake here in Toronto, but if you're on Queen Street this weekend, you may spot several versions of the rapper. A local cake pop business is organizing a look-alike contest. Casuals Cakery is challenging participants to put together their best Drake looks from the different eras of his fame as both an actor and music artist. Adding creativity is highly encouraged. Drake himself appeared to endorse the contest, with organizers saying he messaged them to offer a $10,000 prize to the winner. The competition is the latest in a series of celebrity look-alike events. It gets underway tomorrow at 4.
After the break, preparing for the next flood, earthquake, or wildfire, the province creates a national disaster team to help communities respond to emergencies. The call for volunteers.
It is not a decision I take lightly, but in this situation, it is the right one.
Updating our top stories, Canada Post workers could be off the picket line as early as next week, with the federal government intervening in their 4-week-long strike. The union called the move an assault on bargaining rights. Business groups say it comes too close to the winter holidays to make up for related losses.
It's cold. It's definitely cold. They were setting up heaters.
On one of the coldest days of the season, St. Joseph's Hospital had no heat or hot water because of a boiler outage. All non-essential activities were canceled in several units. But as of tonight, the boiler is now coming back online. Unity Health is still advising patients not to go to St. Joseph's Hospital unless they're facing a life-threatening emergency.
I'd prefer not to do any of this. I'd prefer to make a deal.
And Premier Doug Ford says Ontario could consider stopping the purchase of U.S.-made alcohol by the LCBO, along with halting electricity exports. It's one of the potential measures outlined in response to Donald Trump's threat to hit all Canadian goods with a 25% tariff. Canada's premiers will meet to strategize their response this weekend.
And remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app.
On the markets, the Canadian dollar was down a fraction to close at 70.24 cents U.S. Western Canadian Select Oil closed down 35 cents to end the day at $56.99 a barrel. And the TSX Composite Index closing at 25,274.30, down over 136 points.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
Meta has complied with an order from the CRTC to publicly disclose information about its efforts to block news content on its platforms. The social media giant had previously declined to do so, citing confidentiality reasons. If Canadian news appears on Facebook, Instagram, or other Meta services, the Online News Act would require the company to compensate media outlets for displaying their content. Meta mostly blocked news from Facebook and Instagram when the legislation first came into effect, but users have found workarounds.
As we head into the weekend, a reminder, Line 1 service will end between St. Clair and Shepherd Young stations at 11 p.m. tonight. Both Saturday and Sunday, trains won't run between St. Clair and York Mill stations due to track work. Shuttle buses will run instead.
Also this weekend, GO trains will run on an hourly basis on the Lakeshore West line between West Harbour and GO and Union Station. That's to allow for a construction at Exhibition Station. Stouffville line trains will be replaced with buses between Union and Old Elm. That will not stop within TTC's service areas.
Premier Ford announced the launch of a new effort to organize and mobilize volunteers in the wake of natural disasters and other emergencies.
Ontario Corps brings together skilled professionals, volunteers, non-governmental organizations, and First Nations partners to deliver critical on-the-ground support.
The Premier says Ontario Corps was first piloted earlier this month following the major snowstorm that hit Gravenhurst. He says coordinating volunteers and equipment will mean the province is better prepared to quickly respond to future incidents. Ontario residents aged 16 and up can find out more and sign up at ontario.ca/Ontario Corps.
The Maple Leafs are looking to put back-to-back wins together as they hosted the Anaheim Ducks last night.
William Nylander. Jake McCabe firing it, screen in front, scores!
Max Pacioretty opened the scoring in the first, and William Nylander gave the Leafs a 2-goal lead, but the Ducks cut the lead in half before the first period was over. Pacioretty scored his second goal of the night in the second period, and the Leafs went on to win it 3-2. Goalie Anthony Stolarz left the game with a lower body injury, but is not considered serious. He's labeled day-to-day.
Othello Harrison, he went by the waistline. Ooh.
Oh, John Baji!
And the shorthanded Raptors took on the Heat in South Beach. Toronto jumped out to an early lead against Miami, but couldn't hold on to it in the 114-104 loss. R.J. Barrett finished with his second career triple-double, and Grady Dick led the team with 22 points. The Raptors were without Scotty Barnes after he injured his ankle Monday night. The Raps have the weekend off before hosting Chicago on Monday.
Stars on Ice is returning to Toronto in the new year in a new form. It will be called Rock Stars on Ice. And Canadian figure skating legend Kurt Browning's directing and choreographing the show.
When it comes to rock and roll, I'm hoping to highlight different eras of rock and roll, to have group numbers that bounces around to give you as many of the pieces of music as you can. Maybe get in some rock and roll riffs in there and play with that. There's also some technology out there that I'm looking forward to play.
Another Canadian ice skating legend will headline Rock Stars on Ice. Elvis Stojko is expected to bring his signature jumps to the show. The tour will stop in Toronto May 2nd. Jess.
We are down here at the Eaton Centre for the 29th annual Toy Mountain, and no matter how small the toy is or how big the toy is, every single one counts. You can visit toymountain.ca for more information. You can still donate up until the 20th. That is correct. And it really does make a difference in a child's Christmas. You can come on down here, or you can donate online, or you can text 30333 to do all those donations. We have lots of options here for the kids who are the sporty kids, who like to build Lego, who like to do all different kinds of things. There is something for everybody. Don't forget, we're able to do the donations until the 20th. Toymountain.ca. Coming up, we'll have more, of course, of your forecast and more on the 29th annual Toy Mountain as we build a toy mountain. That's what I'm talking about.
Signs to watch for.
The last 4 digits were scratched off.
To make sure your gift card hasn't been stolen.
Even the ones from behind the cash were corrupted.
Before it goes under the tree. Monday on CTV News at 6.
We are now just a week away from our Toy Mountain finale.
December is flying by, so the final push is on to reach our goal before the holidays. Jessica Smith is at Eaton Center. Bring us home, Jess.
Well, you know, it's actually snowing inside the mall. The tree does a little display and dance, and it's bubbles, but I'm going to say that it's snowing. No snow in our forecast tonight. Thankfully, it is a little cool out there, but you can layer up or come inside, buy a toy, and then donate it to Toy Mountain. We're holding on temperature-wise right around -7. It feels like -13, and as we head through the rest of our evening, yes, it is a little cool, but it's December after all. Over the next 7 days, we do a bit of a yo-yo. Once again, back up to the positive side of things from Sunday onward. So if you can get out this weekend, probably a good one until we get into Sunday afternoon, and then we're watching for some rain. But we're down here for Toy Mountain. I'm joined by the one and only Aaron with the Salvation Army. We've been doing this for a couple of weeks now. Talk to me about the toy total, because I feel like I'm seeing hundreds, if not thousands of toys, and we're not even done yet.
Yeah, so we are up to about 36,000 toys, 36,800.
Okay,
round of applause, yes.
Go.
But we're only about halfway there, and we have 1 week left of the campaign. We're trying to support over 70,000 children across the GTA. So put that into perspective, 36,000 toys for 70,000 children. We need to get that up. If you can come, donate a new unwrapped toy to the campaign and help us put smiles on children's faces.
And if you can't make it, you can donate online as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So go to toymountain.ca. You can find the link there to donate online. A monetary donation helps us to purchase toys for those children who need a toy as well.
Listen, we're doing lots of work, and we're not done building that Toy Mountain. We're going to get to that number, Miss Aaron, as we build a Toy Mountain! That's what I'm talking about. We'll send it back inside. Have a lovely weekend, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Elf on the Shelf. What a great hour. Thank you. That's it for us, but you can join Todd Vanderhayden at 11 for national news. Zarada has your local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, coverage continues on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For the whole team here, thanks for watching. Have a fabulous weekend.
Thanks, everybody. Have a nice weekend.